you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks, it's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, when the Iron Lady sings, that makes it official. In fact, I should just put her on my wake-up alarm so that I can hear that in the morning, and I'll just come alive and be like, start telling jokes or something. Anyway, guys, welcome to the big show. As always, we have the most amazing guests on the show that improve the quality of your life. We don't invite any guests that will ruin your life, just the ones that improve it. You can go to other shows for that. Tell your friends and neighbors, relatives to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss one, the TikToking, and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, we have an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking about her interesting journey. She is the founder of a company called CarViva. She is a doctor, PhD, MBA, speaker, founder, and visionary behind the brand, an award-winning multifunctional beverage brand blending modern nutritional science with Eastern wisdom. Born into generations of traditional herbalists and trained as a food scientist and traditional Chinese medicine scholar, she created CarViva to bridge cultural philosophy with clinical nutrition, proving that food is better medicine. Today, their low-sugar, plant-powered drinks are transforming how people hydrate, recover, relax, from athletes to everyday wellness seekers. Her scientific innovation and leadership have earned global recognition, and she's been featured in Forbes, Bon Appetit, USA Today, Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, and MarketWatch, and she's reached the pinnacle of media, the Chris Voss Show podcast. Welcome to the show. How are you, Angela?
Great, Chris. Thank you for that very glamorous, grand intro.
You did all the work. I just read the words. You did the life work. So give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah.
Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find it at CarViva.com. So CarViva, spelling as KARVIVA.com. Easy enough.
Does that stand for something? Is there a thing behind that? A definition?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm waiting for you to ask this question. Yes. When I first started, my brand name was under Karuna. K-A-R. Yeah. It's like Runa, right? R-U-N-A. And that's a real word. That's a word from ancient India culture. So it means compassion. Yeah. And if you go to India, there are actually many beautiful ladies' first name is Karuna. Huh? So I got a question, in the store when I was doing lots of sampling. When I first started, they asked me, are you an Indian brand? I'm like, oh, wow, you even know this world. That's nice. But I ran into this trademark issue because I couldn't trademark a real word. So I kind of come up with CarViva. So it's a combination. So it's a word combo of Karuna plus Viva. It kind of stands for the philosophy behind our formulation approach. So it's combining the Eastern healing wisdom with, I would say, modern medical science. So Viva is an Italian word, means longevity, happiness. Yeah.
We like happiness.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good thing. Now, I see here, too, on your website, you guys won a 2021 Mid-America Emmy Award winning?
Yeah, Mid-America, yes. So what happened is there was a local education channel, and one of their reporter got super interested in our story. A long story to be short, happened to be her daughter was on the same swimming team of my daughter. And then one day, I didn't even know, this girl just with a bunch of other, my daughter's friend came to my house, and I made some smoothie using my juice, just blended with some fresh fruits. But the base is all my juices. And then this girl went back to her house and told her mom, oh gosh, And Jacqueline's mom made the best smoothie. You should learn how to do it. So her mom got curious and then dip into this drink. And she said, oh, fascinating story. And then they made a really short documentary film. It was only about less than 6 minutes.
Oh,
but,
wow.
it got nominated and then won the Mid-America Emmy.
Congratulations. I mean, there's not a lot of food companies that win an Emmy. I'm not sure McDonald's is winning an Emmy anytime soon for a Big Mac, but yours food's healthy. So we tease McDonald's a lot, which is probably why they never advertise it. Now, what kind of ingredients are we talking about in this brand? What makes it unique or different or a specialty aside from maybe other competitors or perceived competitors in the marketplace that, try and market?
Yeah, exactly. Functional food and beverage market has been growing really fast. I'm sure most people, you don't have to be an expert in the market, but, if you walk into any store now these days, you see this wall of different kind of beverages. You almost got lost. Oh my gosh, which one I want? Even water has so many choices, right? Compared to years ago. I will say what makes us unique again is the principle, is the foundation we build upon, is this combination of, I will say, is really rooted in this ancient healing wisdom. I didn't invent that. I basically hear that. I have these deep roots in traditional Chinese medicine. So to me I feel like I'm just a vehicle help spreading this ancient wisdom. I'm just hoping more people can understand that. But, lots of ancient recipes may not be suitable for modern lifestyle anymore. So I kind of tweak and adapt them to now these days what we truly need, our target customers truly needs. And I was trained in medical research for many years, 20-something years. So as a habit, I like to dig deeper into the clinical study, the research study behind each functional ingredient I use. Then I combine both. So that's a very unique approach. For me, again, rooted in this TCM approach or the same approach also shared in Japan, India, ancient India, is you are not, when you put a good, effective remedy together, it's not just a blending the superfood ingredient. It's about understanding what each ingredient does. And then you do this kind of really rationalized combination, the ratio, how do you combine them? And also sourcing of the ingredient, extremely important. If that makes lots of sense, I can give you an example, like goji berry. We do use goji berry in one of our drinks. Goji berry, you can grow goji berry in your backyard. Like people in Midwest, you can. The climate is fine enough for you to do that. However, it's very different than the goji berry we sourced in a particular region in the northern western part of China, because their climate, especially their soil condition, basically give you this therapeutic grade of the berry that you can't find anywhere else, because this berry condenses the minerals, the things from that unique climate environment that you can reproduce in another region. And we use another very interesting ingredient. It's not just one. I love sprout. I'm sure lots of people heard about sprouted seeds, right? Which has been always very popular, but not widely available because it's quite costly and it's not like everyone knows it's better, but it's not easily to be produced in a massive scale. That's why you don't see it in the food market that often, but there are health nuts looking for such specialty things. So I love sprouts. Sprouts is another interesting veggies, right? You can sprout anything. You can sprout, like I use broccoli sprouts. You can sprout radish seeds. You can sprout Africa seeds. Yes. And the beauty about sprouts, just think about it, it's a baby plant. So the seeds is already a condense of nutrients, like a nutrient powerhouse. But the sprouts is start to release. It's the beginning of a new life. So it start to release all the nutrients. And the other thing is some of the, there's a lot of talk if your audience ever listen to those big, I would say, health and wellness podcast shows, they probably hear about this anti-nutrient, whatever the thing. In for example, people are talking about in certain kind of seeds or soybeans, you have this kind of, it can be quite misleading. It can be quite misleading. But through the sprouting process, you actually can eliminate lots of those compounds. Maybe to some people it's a concern. For most people, it's probably fine. But that's the unique thing about sprouting, right? So we use sprouts in many of our juices. And one of the reasons, in addition to this nutrient dense, and it's naturally sugar-free, it's naturally high fiber, high protein, it's also because traditional Eastern medicine holds a very special place. For example, I use lots of mung bean sprouts. Mung bean is used for, thousands of years for detox, like all kinds of factors. I mean, in the past, people feel like it must be just a folk remedy, and people just believe it. Who knows? Yeah, maybe a strange guy started using it 500 years ago. People just continued. But no, actually, there are real multiple, not just one, not just a dozen of study to pinpoint which compounds in the mung beans actually chelates the toxins in our body and help our body to eliminate that. So that's why it is useful. So that's to answer your question. I know I took a long detour to answer your question. Is this whole thing is how we formulate each drink to serve our customers are very different than I call the rest. Most of the formulators. Either classic trained food scientists. That means they're chemists, very smart, but they think from a chemist's standpoint. Chemists and chef are very different. And then, or you just have people kind of like now these days you can use your AI. Even you can use AI to come up with recipes. You just say, I want something for super hydration or muscle recovery. The AI will give you a recipe. It is true, but it's not about that. It's not about a kitchen sink approach. It's combined dozens of superfood ingredient and the most trendy ingredient. That boom, this is the drink I offer. I always say, what's the rationale? Is that being tested in the market? Of course, we cannot do clinical study. This is not clinical drugs. However, that has been used for thousands of years. If it worked for thousands of years, it should still work now.
Yeah, I mean, things shouldn't really change, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Now, it looks like you target on your website several sort of health, wellness sort of things, like immunity products or drinks, I suppose, gut health, menopause, energy, sleep and relaxation, healthy heart, weight management, and women's health. So you guys formulate these drinks to target some of these different things and help people deal with them better, I guess. Yeah.
I would say here you can look at through two different lenses. One is from the holistic wellness lens. When you have a holistic, doesn't matter what kind of product you offer, you want to answer the question, what problems I'm solving for my customers. And one thing about many of the traditional remedy is it will tell you, this helps with 10 different things. It sometimes can be confusing. It can be confusing. Especially I would say lots of, in the old days, we have different remedies. It will say boost immunity, enhance your eyesight, make your skin look better. When you have a strong digestions, you going to be in good health. Most people don't realize that digestive health is the foundation of your health. And we understand that for thousands of years, and you probably hear, when I first come to this country, that was more than 30 years ago. When I talk about gut is your second brain, people stare at you. What nonsense. What are you talking about? And you are even in medical research, right? Gut is not your second brain. But now it's proved by science. Tons of scientific data prove that. So it, again, goes back to, I would say, the best TCM doctor always want to look at how is your digestive system. So once you fix your digestive issue, your health is going to start to improve. So As a result, yes, you're going to have stronger immunity. You're going to have better hormone balance. You're going to have beautiful skin, hair, all those things. However, if you just tell your shopper, this is just for digestive health, then most people will understand that, it's just going to make me digest things better, and maybe don't have an issue like constipation, those kind of stuff. They don't understand, it's going to help me with many other things. So you want to kind of lead them to the problems, the symptoms. So again, this is different. We want to address why you are not feeling well instead of the basic symptoms. The basic symptoms can be you have a muscle ache, you have a joint issue, you get sick all the time, so you can't digest well, or you just always don't feel right. But so that's how we kind of group them. But on the other side, from business marketing point, you pretty much see this on the market all the time. So you see one drink, like turmeric drink, will say, help your joints, help you, whatever. Uh-huh. It's just how I think in this culture, we like to see results super fast.
Yeah.
We have a microwave or whatever culture you call it. So if you kind of tell them, you really need to be patient. You don't really need to take that medical pills, but it's going to take you a little bit to fix how you eat things, how you kind of live your life. But many of the chronic disease can be reversed. I'm not just misleading people, But again, people take medicine. I'm not against that. But on the other side, change your lifestyle can really help. Yeah. So for us, it's about focus on what customers want. Kind of try to align this fundamental difference of you need to be patient. It takes a while for you to regain your health versus customers in this culture want results in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I want all my problems I've spent 50 years making with my body to just be wiped out by a pill. And I've seen that where I've had to change my diet, I've had to change my life, I've changed what I consume and consume more healthier stuff. And it does take time, and your body will adjust. And you'll love it when you finally get there. But sometimes the journey can be fun because your body is so used to being poisoned and addicted to sugar and fats and other things. Now, I notice in a lot of your products, you have antioxidants, collagen, electrolytes. Some of your products are for sport recovery, immunity, rejuvenation and cleansing, energy, detox, unwind. So you can, I guess, help get away from drinking that wine. I mean, wine's nice, but that alcohol, man, I had to finally give that up too. Wellness and sprouts, bottle of sprouts there, and cleanse packs. So you cover the whole gamut of being healthy.
Yeah, it's a holistic, I would say, lifestyle brand. So we try to address the issue you have from morning to night. But, most of them are related.
Oh, wow. Now, I see something, you have this thing called Premium Unwind. Tell us about that.
Yes. So the unwind, actually, the story behind it, I think you will find it very interesting. What happened is I have a friend, and she lives in LA, the Hollywood region, and she happened to have her dear friend is an actress, in just playing different roles in TV shows, and she asked me this question. I don't want to drink alcohol, but when I go to social events, I don't want to feel awkward. It's like everyone else have a glass of something in their hand. I don't want to drink just boring water or a glass of cranberry juice or whatsoever. But I tried every non-alcohol wine on the market. They taste horrible. I'm like, yeah, I know. I tried those too. Because the process, I drilled down into exactly how they make the non-alcohol wine. They have 3 different processes you can do. Most of them are through physical process to remove the alcohol. But most of those processes, because the way they do it to take the alcohol out, really destroy the natural, beautiful aroma associated with wine that people enjoy. So I'm like, why you want to think about just taking the alcohol out from a wine? How about I make a new drink that is not only it tastes and looks like a wine, but I'll give you this health benefits because you think about why people drink non-alcohol wine. They want better health. People who just want alcohol, they don't care. They don't care their liver and brain get damaged, right? Or they don't care next day I can't function. However, people who become like you, right, quit alcohol because you care about your own health. So for me, it's okay, I really want to focus on this health benefits. So we have quite a few different ancient remedies designed to actually detox alcohol, detox really strong toxins, especially it just helps your liver to recover. So I kind of reformulated one of them, taste and look like a wine. But, obviously, yeah. So it's not the traditional non-alcohol wine because I don't follow that process. It's totally a different process. On the other side, I really want to focus on what this unique customers, group they really want, right? They want something. Even you can enjoy a glass of wine regular, but drink CarViva unwine. It actually help your body kind of detox that alcohol, right? All the natural compounds, remedies. For example, I have aronia berry, which is amazing super berry. Then we have, something you'll probably feel strange about is this a special prickly pear juice. Prickly pear, yes. It actually, the natural remedy, the natives use it to lower blood sugar level.
Wow.
So when you drink alcohol, what happened? Your blood sugar level shoot up to the roof. Because alcohol is even more.
That's the other reason.
Sugar. Yeah.
That's the main reason I gave up alcohol. Not only the hangovers, but it's just sugar. It turns the sugar in your system.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how long have you been doing this? Tell us the story behind founding the company. What was the proponents behind it that made you have that aha moment where you're like, aha. And I think you gave us a little bit of the upgrade of the story. You had mentioned that you were making it, I think, and some neighbors really liked it. But tell us how you developed the business and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think as many entrepreneurs, we become bold or crazy enough to start a business from ground is because we got that genetic or we got that whatever the same comparisons from either our family members or people around us. I got that from my father's family. They're all small business owners. And so I kind of started to play with, starting small business when I was, even in college, I started the first flower shop on campus. That was back in China many years ago. It was almost impossible for a student to start doing business on campus, but I kind of just pushed that through. For me, it was fun. I have to say, because I've been playing with traditional remedies since I was very little. And I use that, I've been using that daily, for myself, for my families, for my friends. And so just about 10 years ago, my friends was like, gosh, have you ever thought about making some of your remedies, because they really work, just to bottle them and make them, or make them into supplements. So I thought about, okay, back then I was like, then that means I have to quit my job and starting from, I don't know. And then I was like, why not? I'm going to do it. So I went to a BevNet boot camp. I was like, I know nothing about making beverages. I know a little bit about beverage industry, but not enough for me to make beverage that, you can sell in many stores, not just in a farmer's market. And I was like, okay, I learned this. I am going to try. And then I started to call a bunch of co-packers. And then people say, what are you going to use? I say, bean sprouts. They say, you're crazy enough. No, we're not going to touch your recipe. Sorry. Then I'm a person, because my years of training in research, then actually that got me like more determined. I was like, okay, there's a problem. Seems like no one else can solve. Okay, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and find a solution for it. I've designed some experiments and find the solution answer for this. I'm like, you guys cannot make it. I'm going to make it myself. And then I started looking into how do I, crazy enough, I built a small facility here in St. Louis because I was determined to make this drink. And then I had to even put an in-house hydroponic farm in my facility because I had to grow the sprouts. I went to the sprouting farms and I wasn't happy with how they grow it because they had to use chemicals because for food safety reason, I cannot blame them. But for me, I want to keep my drain clean. So the only way to do it, I had to grow them on site so I can harvest them freshly within a few minutes. So I'm like, okay, so I put all these things together and I start to make my drink and started with my local Whole Foods. I mean, the first day we sold out like 3 of the 5 products. So I was like, okay, maybe that's a good sign. I'll just continue to do it. Yeah, that's just how it got started. I think is just a matter of like many people is first, you really have to think about why you're starting this business. It's just, I think if the only reason is I want to get onto Shark Tank, I want to be famous and rich, then don't do it because it is so hard. And the chance that you get to that stage to be successful is very small. I'm sure. I mean, the real data, I think is that right? 90% of the new business don't survive the first year or so.
Yeah, the first year too.
Pretty high, 80 to 90%, pretty high number. Yeah. And then, and most people probably started and cannot carry that through because it not just requires time, efforts, hard work. It requires funding too. I mean, it's just all the factors you need to have, and it's not easy.
It's not easy at all. But the thing I love about being an entrepreneur is it really makes you self-actualized and for a lot of people self-accountable because, like you say, you have to carry the load. There's no one behind you that you can be blamed for stuff. The buck stops here. And it's great from the ability to feel self-actualized and okay, I can either make or break things, like what you mentioned. I can either, I can tip the scales in my favor, possibly if I work hard, if I provide a good enough service or product and stuff. So it's a great thing. But once you get what I call the disease, the entrepreneur disease, it's hard to get rid of it once you start a company. So that's why a lot of entrepreneurs just keep going back and back.
You're right. I think it's something becomes addictive in certain ways. Once you start to work on a business from the ground up, it becomes your own baby, right? Yeah. I mean, you have this feeling, emotional force attached to that. But on the other side, sometimes you have to stand like thousands of miles above and just really look at from a very, objective way, just look at it. It's very unique. Like even like you to be such a successful podcast host, it's not that easy. People think, how difficult it is to do a podcast. Like, why don't you do 10 shows first and then talk about how easy or all?
It's funny. I do that to people because they'll call me up and they'll be like, hey, we want you to coach us on doing a podcast because it looks really easy. We just get a mic and a speaker and we ask somebody to come on. It looks really easy. And, and we have what I call the zombie podcasts all over. There's probably 1 million or 2 million of them that someone started and 80% of them never make it past episode 7. Yeah. And then the 20% that do survive, 80% of those don't make it past episode 25. Wow. So yeah, to be a top 1% podcaster, you just have to have, I think it's 75 episodes now or 100. And they don't count the downloads, whatever. But so they'll ask me, they'll go, hey, Chris, I want to spend all this money and do all these things and buy all these mics and equipment. And I'm like, hey, do something first. Let me save you some time here. Do something first. I want you to take your phone and I want you to pretend like you're having a guest or maybe just find your kid or somebody, a spouse or a loved one, someone that you can maybe talk to and interview and just sit down. And I want you to do 3 30-minute interviews, or if your format's 15 minutes, do 15, but at least 15, because talking for that amount of time on a regular basis, you really got to have fill. You got to be able to fill time. You got to have great stories. You got to be interesting. And not all of these, of course, I'm not, but I just read about it in a book. And when I stayed at the Holiday Inn last night. So,
gosh, I always admire, podcasters like you guys. Seriously. I mean, it's that persistency 99% of the people on earth don't have.
Yeah.
You get, most people started something with full of like ambition. They always like feel so excited. But like you said, most of them I mean, I think I read the data, like just consistent with you said, don't even reach episode number 10. Yeah, because it's a lot of hard work. Once you start want to do it well, not just a crabby work, it becomes really hard.
Yeah, even being a host is a skill set and a talent. And
gosh, yeah.
Like I can't even stand to watch shows I did a year ago. We've been doing this for 16 years, 2,800 episodes. We're still growing and getting better. We hope we are. But out of all those people, like that, I say, give me 3 episodes, because if you can't do this for free, you don't need to be in podcasting. If you can't, like I would do this business and talk people's ear off, which I did most of my life, being a great storyteller. And you know how many people pass that test that I give them? Just to sit down and have a 15-minute interview that they fake. Doesn't have to be anything official. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just show me that you can do 3 15-minute fills. 99.9% never fail. In fact, I don't think anyone's ever beaten it. No, come to think of it, no one's ever beaten it.
Wow.
So they just always go, yeah, I'll get back to you, Chris, on that.
Never go back.
Yeah, never shows up. Yeah. And I've been doing that for 5 or 6 years now, where people ask me, I go, let me save you a lot of money and a lot of waste of your time. Because, you don't, and part of it is too, is you do what you love. I think you could probably say that about your brand. And, and the care and love you poured into developing that brand is that passion. Tell us more about that and your end.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Because when I talk to buyers, right? I mean, retail buyers, doesn't matter. I mean, you just get used to hearing no, a lot more no's than yes. And after a while, you get used to it. I mean, it does 2 things. It makes your skin thicker and thicker, but on the other side, you don't feel like you're numb. You lose that passion. So that's actually really hard. You find balance. You want to have thick skin to take a no and then continue to improve yourself, your product, your brand. But on the other side, you don't want to become like, I just don't care anymore. No, who cares? I'm bad. So what? But I think that's a fine balance. And then, by the way, what you just said, that was super helpful. I'm sure, because now these days, podcast becomes a very trendy marketing tool, right? You hear, even in our field, functional beverage or just, CPG brands, people always say, oh, you can start a podcast show that will help you to grow your brand. I'm like, yeah. I kind of read a little bit about that. I know it's not that easy, and you just said that perfectly, I think.
Thank you. I don't think anything is. I mean, your job isn't easy. Your work, being an entrepreneur is not easy, but the amount of value that you can provide to people to improve the quality of their lives in direct proportion to the value that serves or what people are willing to pay in the marketplace makes all the difference. And that's really what that comes down to. And that's really what entrepreneurs do, that I really love talking about entrepreneurism, and people out there in the audience are hopefully inspired. We were just talking in the prior show how it's even now more so easier to become an entrepreneur than ever before. I became an entrepreneur in the brick and mortar thing like you did, where you have to, you got to buy all this stuff and offices and equipment and manufacturing crap and, all this stuff before you can even start making a dime and see if your idea really works. And, we used to have the phone lines installed, and then we had to wait for weeks for that, and then the week for the sign guy to put up and the furniture to get delivered, and then someone had to put all together and set up the office. Nowadays, you just buy a .com of a GoDaddy and you're in business, basically.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think the technology just made anyone, young folks, even teenagers, they can be their own boss. I mean, that's the fascinating part about what technology does. But on the other side, like you said, entrepreneur, this spirit makes us human. I don't think AI can become entrepreneur. Who knows? Maybe one day the AI say, "Oh, I'm going to start this business." I'm like, okay, who knows? Yeah. But I don't see that happen. I think that's a unique human being thing.
Yeah, it is. It's so great just to take ideas, and there's always a way to improve everything. That's what I tell people, because people are like, I don't really have any ideas, Chris. Everything's already been done. And that's kind of true. It's kind of not. It's a thing where, I remember looking at paper clips. This always sticks with me, and people in the audience have heard it for a while. But I remember looking at paper clips, and I was like, that's pretty much done. Paper clips. What a brilliant idea. So inventive, so innovative, yada, yada, yada. And then I started going to the Office Max, things like that. And, then they had jagged edges down the line of the zip of the paper clips to hold better. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that could be improved. Then they had ones that were painted all sorts of different colors because, people got to have colors, Yeah. And so then there was that. And I was like, damn. And then I saw people making plastic innovations of what would normally be paper clips that are much better and easier to pull off and put on. And so, it's anything and everything, including your own products and services, can constantly be improved infinitely. And if you don't improve them as an entrepreneur for your own products, someone else will, and they'll take your customers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the fun of the business. So as we go out, give us your final pitch out. Tell people where they can order up the products, how they can get to know them better, your guys is better, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, if you're curious about CarViva and how we make our drinks, go to our website homepage. There is a short video about 3 minutes. You can watch it. You kind of learn how we do formulation and sourcing. And you can go to our story page if you get curious about learning this short film that won the 2021 Mid-American Emmy Award. I thought that was well made. It was short enough. It's not boring. And of course, you're welcome to try our product. You can order directly at carviva.com or go to Amazon. You just search for CarViva, KARVIVA, or juice cleanser. We're actually one of the top sellers in the juice cleanser category, so you can find us there. Yeah, and it depends on where do you live in this country. You might find it in your store, in your favorite store as well. Love to hear from you, your feedback, and that's how we continue to improve, serve you better.
CarViva.com. Thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it and all of your insightful inspiration. Hopefully we can inspire some more entrepreneurs and, of course, people to order your product as well. Thanks, Angela.
Thank you, Chris. That was fun.
Thank you. And thanks, audience, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. Don't make me pull the car over there and come back there. See you next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.
All right, Angela.